This week, we're talking about a new twist on relationship stalking.
Jealousy plays a big role in a lot of our cases, but I think this one takes it to the next level.
The lengths that her ex's new girlfriend went to copy her are mind-blowing.
I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people.
I did get a cat, and I named my cat Gemma, because my business was Gemstone Treasury. So I named her after the business. Yeah, I got the cat in 2017. And I believe 2019, she got a kitten and named her Gemma and posted her all over her page and was like, did you know that she's so crazy that she copied my own cat's name? Like, it's, how could I copy your cat if my cat's like years older than yours? Not just months or weeks, but years. She's crazy.
I'm Jaimie Beebe.
And I'm Jake Deptula. On today's episode of Strictly Stalking, we're chatting with Natasha, who was stalked by her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend.
After Natasha broke up with her high school boyfriend, he immediately began dating someone new.
His new girlfriend began posting about Natasha on social media and contacting people Natasha was dating to make false accusations about her.
Her stalker's obsessions took a bizarre turn when she imitated Natasha's life and lifestyle, trying to look like her and even naming her cat the same as Natasha's cat.
Then Natasha's stalker showed up at her mother's office place, put her home address online, and made threats against her life.
Natasha and her mother went to court to get a restraining order against her, but now she's claiming that Natasha is the crazy one who's obsessed with her. Natasha, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am 34 and born and raised in California, from Northern California, a small town. And I'm currently self-employed, and I have been for 14 years. So I just kind of go where my career takes me.
Very cool. And how did you meet your ex?
We met in high school. I went to the local public high school for the first 2 years before transferring to a private school. And the year that I transferred was when we decided to start dating and make things work. And we dated for 7 years after that.
And do you want to tell us kind of a little bit about your relationship, how it went?
It was like typical high school sweetheart, prom and graduation. And then we moved in together when we started college. Kind of had like that small town romance, I guess, where we had like the same group of friends that we grew up with. Things went well, and after college, I decided that I wanted to move and try things outside of this small town. So I moved to Southern California, and soon after I moved was when we decided to break up. He did move with me, and I just was looking at things. We grew apart. We grew up. We started to come into like adulthood and finding ourselves, and it was just at a point in my life where that's just not what I wanted. So we broke up, and I literally have never heard from him since since that day.
How did he react when you broke up with him?
Just typical heartbreak and upset. Calling friends to have them call me to talk me out of it, or to tell them his side of the story. I mean, it was kind of weird because he just moved home, and then I never heard from him again. But I would hear from his family and our mutual friends, but he just kind of fell off the face of the earth as far as I was concerned. It was weird.
Did you hear anything about him starting a new relationship? When did you find out about that?
Yeah, I was still friends with his sister, and we had a roommate during college who was still our mutual friend. And he just, they would let me know and give me updates, and they were actually the reason that I found out about how she was imitating me, and basically the start of the stalking between her and I.
Had you met his girlfriend before they started dating?
No, I actually had never met her until we went to court for the restraining order. I've never met her in my life.
Do you know anything about how their relationship began or what their relationship was like?
I'm not too sure, but from what she has to tell everyone is they've been dating this whole time. So I don't know if he was dating her, on the side, or what's the truth, just because everything she seems to have to say is a lie or like some story. So I don't really know how they met, when they met, but according to her, they've known each other since they were children.
When did his girlfriend first try to contact you?
To be honest, I can't remember, but I do know it was through Instagram and Facebook. I'm not sure how she even found out about me, obviously because I was his ex after years of being together. But she found me on Instagram and Facebook, and then it just kind of went from there. But she did originally friend me and like tried to befriend me and was nice and kind. And I was like, okay, like we can be civil adults about this. But it quickly went south. Like as soon as she got the ability to go through like my photo albums and such, it went bad really fast.
What were those initial contacts from her like?
At first she was like, oh, I hear that you're really nice. Like, I'd love to be friends with you. And immediately I just felt this gut feeling that this just isn't right. Then I thought maybe it's just myself, like an inner turmoil. Like, well, that's my ex-boyfriend for 7 years. Like, maybe it's just me feeling weird about this. But she was just kind of like screenshotting my personal life. She had gone through and every photo album basically screenshot everything, and then that's how she was able to repost because I originally had accepted her friend request. So she took that small amount of time and ran with it.
So she started reposting your photos?
Yes, and then first she started reposting my photos and then like saying things like with threat messages on them, like this is my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriends, if you see her in the streets or even if you see her in Target, like take care of her for me. And that was just because I had blocked her. Like I had realized that she was no good and I needed to get rid of her, and then she took the blocking as like, okay, it's on. It started with threats, and then when she realized the threats weren't going to get her anywhere and then I was going to take legal action, then she just copied everything I did because there's really nothing I can do about that.
We all love a great true crime mystery. Now you can put your detective skills to the test with free Small Town Murders crime mystery puzzle game.
I love the storyline and all the cute characters. Wondering what will happen next really keeps me coming back to play.
All the little clues are so intriguing, and you know I love puzzle games.
There are more than 2,000 levels and 700 clues and pieces of evidence to collect, plus 14 cases and new cases added every month. So it'll keep you on your toes, Jake.
I'm definitely using my detective skills to find the best strategy with the brain-teasing Match 3 puzzles.
It's the new crime mystery puzzle game from the makers of Angry Birds that everyone is talking about. Solving puzzles to unlock clues and evidence, meeting colorful townspeople, and swapping gossip for juicy leads.
Become a detective today. All you have to do is download Small Town Murders free on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
You'll love this interactive murder mystery game. That's Small Town Murders on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
What I put in and on my body is really important to me. So we want to tell you about our favorite natural deodorant, Each and Every.
There are so many things about Each and Every that are awesome, especially that it was founded by women and designed for all genders to use.
Also, that it's vegan, cruelty-free, and sustainably sourced, even down to their new eco-friendly plant-based packaging.
And the scents are amazing. Coconut and lime reminds me of relaxing on tropical beaches, which is one of my favorite things to do.
We all know you love going to the beach. Each and Every is made with just 6 simple ingredients, including coconut oil and Dead Sea salt, plus essential oils for fragrances like lavender and lemon, citrus and vetiver, and rose and vanilla.
We know you'll love Each and Every, and we'll want to share it with everyone you know, just like we're doing.
Make sure to check out their limited edition gift sets and bundles now, and take advantage of this great offer for our listeners. We're giving you 30% off your first purchase.
Go now to eachandevery.com/stalking and use promo code stalking.
Remember to get 30% off. Use promo code stalking at eachandevery.com/stalking.
What made you decide to block her in the first place?
Our mutual friends, our roommate that we had in college, and his sister were texting me, letting me know things that she was saying about me, and it's just really rude, just really like vulgar things that she was saying about me that weren't true, and trying to just ruin my reputation. And it was all because she had gone on to my Facebook and was like, oh, did you know, like making up stories behind pictures. Like I had gone to a gun range and she just like went on this like tangent, made up a story about like how I shouldn't even, I'm like not even allowed to be having guns legally and I should be arrested. Like it was bizarre. It was so bizarre.
Since you didn't have any contact with your ex, you had no clue if they were talking about it, if she was, operating solo, or if there's any involvement on his part, correct?
Yeah, correct. I have no idea. We were on the same cell phone plan. So when we broke up, like everything, like we canceled the plan. We both got new numbers. Like there was basically no way for us to contact each other unless we went to like our parents' houses to find them. So it's kind of a clean breakup, just let's go our separate ways. And I had no clue any of this was happening for quite some time. And that's when I was like, okay, well, maybe we can be friends. Like maybe she's just acting like this because she's jealous or because she thinks I'm mean. Like I need to be nice to her. I need to be a friend to her, show her that I'm not this mean person. And that was a horrible idea because she went and got super invasive, like I said, with the screenshots and the reposting, the threats on social media, just really rude, vulgar things about my mental health, how I could qualify for disability because I'm crazy, how I'm fat. When I would get healthy or lose weight, it was because I was on drugs. Like anything that I did with my life, she had to undermine it in some way or make up a story to make me look really bad. Like anything I would do, like I would move, and it was because I had to switch rehab centers, not because I got a promotion for work. Like everything had a horrible story behind it. It was bad.
We all have kind of a crazy ex that maybe, talks shit about us to their new girlfriend or whatever. Do you think that was part of that?
To be honest, I don't think he talked shit. I think he compared because we were together for, at such a young age. So I think maybe it made her upset that he would have the nerve to compare her to his ex. I don't think he would talk shit. I think his family probably compared her to me, and she wasn't okay with his sisters being friends with me and so forth. She's extremely jealous. Extremely jealous.
Natasha, how often did this happen at first? Like, how often was she contacting you and harassing you online?
All day, every day. All day, every day, to the point where I had to call the local police department and like, what can I do about this? This is like such a huge hindrance on my life. And like, just, I can't keep in touch with anyone because I log into these social media accounts and I'm like bombarded with fake profiles that she would make up and like send me horrible messages saying horrible things. She would reach out to anyone I was dating and do the same thing on these hidden profiles. Like, I'm just letting you know that, like, the worst thing she had to say that I was a child molester one time. I was dating a guy with a young girl and she was like, you should probably know that she shouldn't be around your child because she is convicted, blah, blah, blah. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
How did the police react when you turned to them?
Unfortunately, they don't offer much help whatsoever, ever. I don't care what county I'm in, what city I'm in, who I ask. They just kind of take the basics, and I'm always told, well, you just need to block her and stop posting or delete your account. So I haven't had a Facebook since 2013 because that's one of the times I had called the police because of the threat she was posting on Facebook, and they just told me that I had to delete my Facebook. And that's the only way to get rid of it. So I've never bothered to jump back on that platform again. My Instagram, same thing. They told me to shut it down or to just stop posting. It's hard in this day and age, and at this age in general, just having a social life and being connected without the internet. I mean, that's the point of our phone is to be connected, to have these apps. And I'm told for my protection, that's all I can do. Just delete your social media, you'll be fine. I'm like, well, she knows where I live. She's posting my address all over Facebook for everyone to see. There's nothing that can be done.
Once you deleted your social media, did it stop?
No, not at all. She just continued to post about me, find out who I was dating, or she would show up. She showed up at my mom's place of work one time. She's just, like, any way she could intrude in my life, she would. And it's so frustrating because I didn't do anything to her. I don't know her, nor have I met her. Like, there's no reason for any of this. That it just kind of boggles my mind. Like, what's the reason? I don't know.
Can you give us like a timeline of the escalation of what she was doing? I mean, she started out with posting rude things, taking your photos. How did it escalate? What happened after that?
It escalated very quickly. There wasn't really like an in-between time. Anything that I would have to say in return, because I would post in return, like, just say, like, police have been notified, please leave me alone, or things like that. And then in response, I would get, well, like, fuck your police report, and you can shove it up your ass. I still know where you live, and I still know people, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like I have to walk around this small town with my head on a swivel. I had ended up moving to Southern California and moving back home. The year that I moved home, they moved to Southern California because she knew I lived down there, and she's stalking me. And they still do live in Southern California, but she recently found out when I filed the restraining order that I'm living back in Northern California the last 4 years.
Natasha, when the stalking started, who were the first people that you told in your life?
My mom and my soon-to-be ex-husband. I was going through a divorce, and he was finishing the police academy. So I just had to let him know, like, hey, this is part of my life. That's something that I've been living with. And he was very understanding. We're still civil and remain friends after the divorce. And she ended up contacting him and sent him this 5-page message. I think it was through email or through Facebook. How she was going to take me to court, and she had all this huge story fabricated. And she was under the understanding that just because we're going through a divorce, that we were on horrible terms. So she was basically like, why don't you go in on this with me? We can come up with a really good story, and we'll get her locked up. And then we never have to deal with her again. So, of course, he messages me right away. And to be honest, I think that was the main reason that there was really no necessary argument in court. When I told the judge that, he just was kind of done with listening to everything else. Because she was contacting a law enforcement officer, trying to tell him, let's make up a story and get your ex-wife in trouble, because I'm tired of her.
What did the cops say after that, after you turned that evidence in?
Nothing. I just constantly was told, we're investigating it. So I had to get a process server to serve her the restraining order papers. And she had already moved to Southern California at this point. So I had to hire somebody in Southern California to find her. And they were at her place of work, and she would not come out from the back office. They waited and waited, her friends were hiding her. So they never were able to serve her. So I showed up to court, and I'm thinking, okay, I guess I won this case. She never even got served. She's not here. The clock hits 9:30 a.m. and she comes walking through the door, and the judge looks at the papers and is like, I thought you didn't serve her. Why is she here? And I was like, she knows everything I'm going to do. This is proof that she's stalking me. She just showed up from Southern California without ever being served. She knew exactly the court date and time, location, everything. Showed up. I don't know how. She never got served.
How do you think she was collecting all this information?
Any route she could try. Like if I was dating somebody, she would stalk their profile if it was public, and then find a mutual friend, and then kind of make friends with them. And then, hey, did you know that the guy dating her, blah, 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 there's a story behind that. Yeah, she would, I had a public page for a business that I was running, and she copied the product that I made, like down to the font for the product. I had to completely just shut down the page, shut down the business. I let the license expire because she found me on that. And then she turned around and was like, oh, did you know that she's copying me? Because look, I have all my Instagram, and she was using like screenshots of my product, like the exact photo that I would post, she would post it like within 30 minutes. And if I would change my font, within 2 or 3 days, she would change the logo font on her product as well. So that was a lot of how she was getting that information, because it was a public page. But I did get a cat, and I named my cat Gemma, because my business was Gemstone Treasury. So I named her after the business. Yeah, I got the cat in 2017, and I believe 2019 she got a kitten and named her Gemma and posted her all over her page, and was like, did you know that she's so crazy that she copied my own cat's name? Like, it's, how could I copy your cat if my cat's like years older than yours? Not just months or weeks, but years. She's crazy.
Did the cats look alike?
No, I have a exotic Lynx cat, so she kind of looks like a little like a house leopard. She's very cute, and she has, I think it's a white cat. It's a cute cat, but it's not the same. Thank goodness.
How did you collect information on her to find out that she was harassing you without directly contacting you?
She left her Facebook public. And also just growing up in a small town and having mutual friends. Unfortunately, I lost contact with so many people that I grew up with just because I don't know who or what is the source of my information. I can't just live my life without constantly worrying, like, are you the person that's telling her? Are you the person that I thought I could trust? And I don't know if it is people that are mutual friends or what it is, but it makes me wonder, because if they're giving me the information, what information are they giving them? I found out about it, I think, 2012 or 13, but as far as I'm aware, I think it was a little bit earlier than that, so probably like 2011. We broke up in 2009 or 10. So it's been going on for almost 10 years.
What was the final straw that you decided you would go get a restraining order?
When she showed up at my mom's place of work. My mom's a nurse. She found a roundabout way to sneak in as a accompaniment for someone else's appointment. And the people at the front desk were like, someone who looks so much like your daughter is here asking like specifically for you. And then, my mom saw the patient and was like, oh my God. It took her a minute to realize who it was. And then she was emailing people that my mom worked with, just saying horrible things. It was bad.
Did she have some sort of confrontation then with your mom?
No, but she was asking just weird questions, like really intrusive questions about me and how I've been, and just kind of weird questions that my mom was like, I'm not going to answer that. It has nothing to do with this appointment or being the company to the person that's in this office. So I'm very lucky. She's never tried to confront me or hurt me or any of my family members. She just says it a lot on the internet. She just, anywhere that she could get involved or anyone that she could have involved, she would do it. So she involved my ex-husband. She involved my mom. I think the only reason she doesn't involve my siblings are because we're so far apart in age and we live in different areas. So, yeah. She finds anybody that I'm dating. I have to keep everything very low profile and secretive, which it kind of sucks because I went from being a very friendly person to being very guarded and selective, and to the point where like I use filters on almost all my pictures, and it's not like for vanity's sake. It's to kind of like mask who I am or to like cover things that I know she'll try to copy. I had my hair bright blue, bright purple, bright pink, green, all different cool bright colors because I knew that she couldn't, with her job, she couldn't do that. So, but she would copy the cut. She copied my glasses. If I post a picture on social media, like if it's in my profile picture so she can find it, she'll copy the outfits. I have lots of screenshots that I took to court of a post that I would make, and then weeks later a post that she would make, and it's the same pose, sometimes down to the same exact outfit. Like I would shop at Kohl's or Target, and she would go there and find, oh, that's the dress she wore in her picture, and buy it and take the same picture.
What was the process of getting a restraining order like for you?
It was expensive. Because filing the papers without getting like a detective to back you or serve them for you is a few $100s, and then you have to hire a process server, which I had to do in a whole different part of the state. That was expensive, and then they told me they couldn't even serve her. They were calling me daily, giving me updates, and going to court. It wasn't really like being in court wasn't difficult. It was just getting the paperwork filed, getting her served. I just thought, oh, I'm never going to finish this process because I can't get her. Like, she can find every way to get me, but I can't find any way to contact her or to, like, get her even served by people who this is what they do for a living. Like, they can't even find her. So she made it really difficult. And not getting any help from law enforcement made it a lot more difficult. And I don't really think that they do it on purpose. I just don't think that that's in the realm of what they're trained to do. Or like, yeah, they protect and serve, but when they're trained, it's not like, this is how you handle a stalker. This is how you handle a copycat. Like you have to get into like investigative detective work. And that's like, you have to be, like murdered or something. Like there has to be a real crime there. And to them, stalking is not a real crime.
Hey, Jaimie, do you like scary movies?
Jake, your jokes aren't funny, but I do love scary movies. As the world's premier streaming service for horror, thriller, and supernatural content, Shudder is spooky 24/7, 365.
I loved Creepshow Animated Special, a Shudder original series available now. I can't wait to check out Leap of Faith William Friedkin on The Exorcist and Scare Me, starring Josh Rubin, Aya Cash, and Chris Redd. Both are available now.
I just watched Scare Me, and I absolutely loved it.
Shudder has a unique collection of exclusive and original films and series, horror classics, and blockbuster hits. They even have an extensive international library that has really showed me some fun new horror shows that I never would have found otherwise.
It's like the Netflix for horror, and now that I've tried it, I can't live without it. You can stream thriller, horror, and crime all the time for just $5.99 a month or $56.99 a year. It's unlimited access to stream ad-free on all your devices.
You can stream the unexpected on your iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, Roku, and Android devices.
Get started streaming the best horror, thriller, and supernatural content today.
To try Shudder free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code STALKING.
That's SHUDDER.com and use promo code STALKING to try Shudder free for 30 days. Oh, look, it's wine o'clock.
Jaimie, let's be honest, when is it not wine o'clock for you?
Well, you're not wrong. I recently ordered a mixed pack of usual wines so I could give each one a try, And not only is the taste fantastic, but the wines are low carb and have 0 grams of sugar.
But I know grapes have sugar in them.
To clarify, all Usual wines are produced using natural, sustainable grapes harvested every fall. These grapes are picked at optimal ripeness to ensure all sugar will be fermented completely until the wines are dry with no residual sugar. All that's left over is delicious, clean wine.
And Usual has something for everyone: a red blend, a rosé, and a sparkling white wine called Brut.
Usual wines are perfect because each bottle is 6.3 ounces, a heavy pour, or about 1.5 glasses of wine, so no more wasting the leftover bottle.
There's also a special holiday product, the Usual Reserve. It's an ultra-premium limited edition Mount Veeder Cabernet Sauvignon.
Introducing Usual Reserve. This is the most special wine yet, just in time for the holidays. Hailing from one of the most celebrated plots of land in all of Napa, this Cabernet Sauvignon is concentrated and rich with just enough grip.
You can gift it to someone special or keep it all for yourself.
The holidays, as usual.
Go check out their website at www.usualwines.com and use our discount code STALKING for $8 off your first order. And try your first glass on us.
That's USUALWINES.com. With discount code STALKING for $8 off your first order, and try your first glass on us. What did the judge say at court? How did you get this restraining order?
Printed out pages and pages of the screenshots, text messages I was getting from my friends, from his family, or the emails that she was sending to people, the screenshots of her threats. There really wasn't much I had to say. He was just looking through the pages, and like I said, when she walked in without being served, because the stamp was right there on the front page, and he looked up and saw her and looked at me and was like, "Why is she here? You said she didn't get served." Because she didn't get served. I don't know how she's here. She just showed up.
And how long was the process? How long were you in the courtroom?
Maybe 30 minutes. It was quick.
Did the judge say anything to her, or did you say anything to her?
No. I honestly didn't even look at her. I didn't want to give her the energy. But he did say that she wasn't allowed to even look my name up on the internet. And at that time, that was the precipice of very easy access IP addresses. You had to have a detective search engine to do that. Now it's really easy, I guess. So prior to it being so easy, he was like, "Don't make me hire a detective to prove that this is your IP address, because I know it's going to be you." So, but now it's so easy to prove it's her. So, but there's really nothing I can do about it other than file another restraining order and drop a few $100s, and I just don't have the time or energy to waste on her anymore.
And you were granted a 3-year restraining order?
Correct. It expired a little over a year ago. And at the moment it expired, she started her nonsense again. I mean, it was already going the whole time, but she was very vague about it. She wouldn't really use my name directly, but she would constantly refer to me or still copy everything I did. But the moment she could use my name again without getting any legal charges, she did. And she still does.
And how did it start back up? What was the first thing that you saw after the restraining order ended?
That she was copying my business and the product that I was making. I had asked during the time that I had my business running, "Hey, is this you?" Or I heard that there's someone out there making, because I was making bath bombs and other body products, but I heard there's someone out there making bath bombs that look like yours, and they have, because they had a surprise gemstone inside of them. So I was like, "Oh, there's all kinds of people out there that do that. I'm not the only one." And I just kind of brushed them off because I assumed that, I have a restraining order, I'm protected. And it was her. And anytime I would repost on my page that, someone dropped their bath bomb into the tub, I would post a video. She would go behind me and then message them and be like, "Oh, you need to reorder. This is my new page." Or, "How much did she charge you? She's overcharging you. I'll charge you this much." That kind of stuff. So that's how I found out, was through my business page.
What kind of restrictions did you have to place on your life as soon as the stalking started escalating?
Well, cutting off my social media, that was rough. And then easing back into it and just kind of constantly being aware. It's not just being self-aware, but being aware of like what I'm saying or what I'm posting, because she'll twist my words to mean whatever she wants them to mean. So like I sometimes won't even put a word. And if I put words, it's just describing for access for my blind friends. It has nothing to do with like a quote or how I'm feeling. She also will address me like in her profile description. She'll put like my handle and like I see you, or it's so disgusting how hard you're trying to look like me, or like she changes it all the time, but they're always addressed towards me. And she'll usually tag me in them as well if she finds out my handle. So it's just I even have trouble like going out to eat and just like everyone else on Instagram, like, oh, this is where I'm at. I'm gonna take a picture of it and tag the restaurant. Like, I'll take a picture of it and then maybe I'll go home or the next day I'll post that picture because she'll find out where I am. I don't want her to know. And there was a point in 2018 where I went to Disneyland with my family. I had just made a new Instagram and I was all over it because I thought I could trust the people on my page. Just step by step, here I am. And she showed up at Disneyland where I was at the bar of the hotel. And thank goodness my dad's former law enforcement, and we were there with his other law enforcement friends. So I felt safe and I went with them. But I don't know what would have happened had I just been there for fun, just hanging out. So it's stuff like that. Like I can't just, like, let's take a boomerang or take a shot. Like, I just can't. How to learn to live without it.
Was there a confrontation between you two when she showed up at Disneyland?
No, we were walking through the hotel, the Grand Californian Hotel. That's where I was staying with my family. And there's like a bar that leads to the trail that leads into the entry. So we had crossed paths there, but like, she was standing there with her arms crossed and just like watching me, and I'm just do. And then I realized I forgot something. So when I turned around to go back, she was like making faces at me and like nodding at me, like I found you kind of. And then I was like, oh my God, like what do I do? My restraining order didn't umbrella this area that I'm in. I'm in Disneyland. I'm not in the county that I filed this restraining order. There's nothing I could do.
During all this time that she started stalking you, were you ever tempted to reach out to your ex and get some clarity?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just had no idea how, because I didn't have any phone numbers. I did reach out through email, through his company email, and it had shown as red, and then I screenshot that and I used that in the restraining order just as proof that I was trying to diffuse the situation, asking him, begging him to just please, like, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on, but this needs to stop. And he's aware of what's going on. He showed up with her to the court and everything, so he's clearly aware of what's going on. I just don't think he cares.
After the court case ended, did you feel any, sense of justice? Did you feel like the restraining order was going to be something that was going to protect you, or did you just think that, it's just going to prevent her for a very short time, and then you're just going to be... Did you think she would come back after the restraining order expired?
No, I thought 3 years is plenty of time for her to just get over this. Especially if this is something like an emotional jealousy type of thing, hopefully in 3 years she won't even remember my name. But I was wrong. I think it just ignited more of a... like the reason inside of her to make my life a living hell, because it was like, oh, you took me to court, like how dare you, rather than just, oh, I better stop because she took me to court. She was like, okay, well, it's on now, game's on.
Since you still had a bit of a relationship with your ex's sister, family members, did you try talking to them about it? What did they say?
They were supportive at first, one of the sisters still is and was, but very like, I'm sorry this is happening, I'm here for you, that me and my mom are on your side, and we'll always love you and have a place for you because of you being in our life for so long. I And I felt good about that until they showed up, except the one sister. They all showed up to court with her. His mom and dad showed up, his little sister showed up, and he showed up to court with her when I filed the restraining order. So it just kind of blew my mind. Like, I thought all you people cared about me. You were the ones who were telling me about what was going on, and now here you are on the other side of the courtroom siding with her. Okay.
Do you think that she was telling them lies? Did they believe her?
I know she was telling them lies, for sure. And I think they're going to believe their son over their son's ex-girlfriend from childhood. You know, we're in our 30s now. We're not teenagers. Like, we dated, I think I was like 15 or 16. We're kids. So I don't even know who you are anymore because we've grown up into two completely different adults.
When did she flip the script on you and claim that you were the one who was stalking her?
After the first post that I posted that I had contacted the police to file a police report for harassment, that's when it was like, oh, you think I'm harassing you? Well, you're the one who's copying me. And then she totally had to change the narrative to shape her needs and to frame her as the person who's like, anything that I do, she copies me. So I'm the one saying that she's copying me, then she's the one that's going to say I'm copying her. Like, literally, no matter what I have to say, she will turn it around and be like, no, that's not true. I'm the one who did that. So it's been going on since the beginning.
Do you think you're going to file another restraining order?
Not unless she gets threatening or like harassing again, because to be honest, I don't want to waste my time or energy on her. This is the extent of it as far as like doing this podcast. Other than that, I don't really talk about it often. I don't even like to acknowledge that like she exists, and unless I meet someone, and that's kind of like one of those, like if I had a kid, I'd have to say, by the way, I have a child. But for me, it's by the way, I have a stalker. If we're in a date, you should be ready because this might happen or this has happened. So just so you know.
Do you think it's something that you'll have to deal with just forever on that level, or do you think that eventually she'll go away?
I think it's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with forever unless she breaks up with him and dates a new guy and finds a new girl to obsess over. It's probably going to be for a while just because the restraining order didn't stop her. It didn't even faze her. She just stopped using my name, but she still is constantly looking me up and finding me. And in court, she didn't mention that she has an app that I don't know if she pays for or what, but she has an app and it tells you, it like syncs your followers and it tells you who's unfollowed you or who you mutually follow or who has blocked you even. So anytime I make a new account, first thing I do is block her. And then that's how she immediately finds out that I have a new account, is because I pop up on her app, someone new has blocked you. So I can't even just like block her and be living in peace because she will find out who I am or like who my new profile is.
So they're still together. Are they married yet or just living together, boyfriend and girlfriend?
It changes daily on her profile. Some days it's I love my fiance, like you'll never have him back, and some days it's Mrs. and then she uses the last name. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're married or they're engaged or they're just dating. Don't care.
If she happened to listen to this, what would you want her to know?
That there's no reason for this. If there is a reason, I would like to know. It's just, this is like, there's no point in wasting your energy. Like, I'm not worth it. My opinions don't pay your bills. So why do you care so much about what I'm doing with my life? It has no impact on yours. And I've been told like imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but I don't. That's when you have like a fan, and I don't have a fan. I have a stalker. There's hatred. There's negativity involved, and there's no need for that. I I don't care what you do with your life, so you shouldn't care what I do with mine.
Were you ever afraid for your life? Were you ever afraid that she would physically harm you or come for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when she was posting all my personal information on her Facebook. And just like not even caring. Like I had to reach out to her place of work and like send them the screenshots, let them know like you have an employee that's doing this for the world to see. I don't know how to even put it into words at this point.
How did she react when you sent those screen grabs to her work?
I don't know. That was during the restraining order process, just letting them know that like I've now filed the restraining order, that these are the screenshots included in this is from your employee. So if she reaches out to me from any of your work email addresses, it's on you guys now. So I don't know if she got talked to or she got let go or what happened.
What would you like to see happen to your stalker? Do you want any form of justice? Do you want to see her get help?
I think help would be justice. Or if she is beyond that, or if it's, like if she's above getting help, then a charge to be pressed. There's not really much I can do. So I guess advocating and finding ways to change the system or educating the system on stalking, because there's just not much. And a lot of people that you go to for help are just as shocked as you are. Like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening either. I've never dealt with this. I've never heard of this. There needs to be education on this. Is way more common than it appears to be. And it's not just, it's just a period of time in your life. Like, it can last your whole life.
What advice would you have for someone in your ex-boyfriend situation?
Well, my mom taught me not to say anything if you don't have anything nice to say. But I would leave her. Get yourself out of that toxic situation. Like, if you're really that obsessed with someone that you can't let them go and you have to date a copycat, then I guess I don't have advice, because I could never imagine putting myself in a situation like that or dealing with it for that long, that many years. I'd be gone after the first argument about that.
What type of emotional toll has this taken on your life, having to deal with this for almost a decade now?
Quite a bit. I've seen multiple therapists, and I'm all for it. I'm all for therapy and finding what works for you. And so I've been lucky enough to find what works for me and talking about it and coping mechanisms. So thankfully, I've kind of started that from the get-go, rather than letting it get to a point of despair. I immediately sought help to, like, how do I deal with this? Because no one's helping me. So maybe someone like a therapist can help me, and they did. So it's taken an emotional toll, but not as much as it could have, because I started early with getting help.
What advice would you have for somebody in your situation?
I think in the early stages of all of this, I would have just been more particular about being public, about who I added, and just about social media in general. But I feel like it's been a learning phase for all of us, because social media is still so new. So if it seems trendy to constantly, post where you're at and what you're doing, at the time, it's like, okay, it's cool, everyone's doing it. But then you look back at it and you're like, I wish I wouldn't have done that, because that gave her so much access to my life. And I had no idea that she was watching every move I made. So I would say just be cautious. If you feel the need to post every move you make, do it later. Go home and edit your pics and make them cute, or add some emojis. Like, do what you gotta do. But sometimes just waiting is better. It's for your own safety.
Natasha, what made you decide to come forward and share your story with us?
I have been listening to your podcast for a while and can resonate with a lot of it. And I just thought I need to tell my story, because I realize I am not alone, and it's not just one or two. Like, there's a lot of us out there going through different types of stalking situations, and there's far fewer resources and ways to deal and ways to cope. So I feel like the more of us that come together, there's power in numbers. We can make a movement to advocate for safety of victims of stalking. So I feel like speaking up is the only way to get that done.
I think this will especially resonate. Were there any red flags with your ex-boyfriend that would explain how he ended up with someone with this type of behavior?
No, I mean, we were so young. I don't know what to look for, or like what to even. I can barely remember that relationship, because we were kids. So I just remember like the good things and stuff like that. But
has it changed the way you approach dating now, or if you're about to get into a relationship? Are there any things that you bring up?
I definitely bring up having a stalker or a copycat. Definitely, that's like one of the first things that if I'm going to get intimate with anyone, an emotional level, I have to let them know. Whether it's someone I'm dating or even just like a new friend I've made, or like coworkers. Like, I'm self-employed, but I work with an agency of, with other people that do what I do. So I had to let them know because there was a chance that she would reach out to them. So it's changed how I approach any relationship in my life. Because I'd rather them hear from me, this is my situation, this might happen, than her just show up and have something horrible to say about me. And then they just kind of ghost me or stop talking to me because they're like, oh, I had no idea. I better never talk to her again.
What is life like for you now?
I feel like I've done a good job in thinning out who I need in my life and who's a real friend, if that makes sense, I guess. Who I can trust. It's had a positive impact in more ways than it has had negative. It's helped me grow quicker than I probably would have just not having any of this experience. It pushed me to seek a therapist and get my emotions figured out and healthy ways to live. So I just feel like my life took a turn for the better. So I could have let it tear me down and just completely make me a hermit, but instead I'm thriving, doing my best.
Natasha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
If anyone out there is in need of help or is a victim of stalking, please reach out. You can find a list of resources on our Instagram at @StrictlyStalkingPod.
If you'd like to share your story with us on Strictly Stalking, you can reach us at strictlystalkingpod@gmail.com. That's strictlystalkingpod@gmail.com. You can watch our episodes at youtube.com/strictlystalking. I'm Jake Deptula.
And I'm Jaimie Beebe. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Strictly Stalking.